take your seats. Our session is about to begin. Thank you.
Por favor, tomen asiento. La sesión va a comenzar. Gracias.
Please take your seats. Our session is about to begin. Thank you.
Por favor, tomen asiento. La sesión va a comenzar. Gracias.
Please welcome Executive Vice President, Europe Operations, Barbara Frei.
So, hello everyone. Bienvenidos, benvinguts, benvindo, benvindos, ongi e torri. I am Barbara Frei, President for Europe Operations, and I'm delighted to welcome you to Schneider Electric's Innovation Summit Barcelona 2019. It is an honor to have you with us. In these 2 days, all of you, all of us, are making Barcelona the center of technology and innovation. We welcome more than 3,500 customers, influencers, partners, suppliers, and students from all over the world, from countries all around Europe, to Central and South America, Southeast Asia, and CIS. Thank you for being here with us. Your presence here is a testimony to the fact that our innovation summits are becoming the leading event experience for our industries, where bold ideas come to life for solving challenges of today and for leveraging the opportunities of tomorrow. I'm also convinced there are many of you who love Spain and Barcelona. And that's why you didn't want to miss the opportunity to combine both, the beauty of the city and the unique chance to explore, discuss, and create new opportunities for powering and digitizing the world and the economy. We live and work in unpredictable times, times of disruption, times of opportunities. We know that many here in the room lead small, medium-sized companies. And if you are here, it's because digitization and innovation is on top of your agenda. We are convinced that in the coming 2 days, we will be able to unleash new opportunities for you and to discover potential within your business. I encourage all of you to look around you, to enlarge your network. Maybe your next customer or partner is just sitting next to you, or you will discover in one of the hub or conferences someone who has already made the same experience or has the same needs. So with that, I'll let you make the most of this event and welcome to Innovation Summit Barcelona.
Please welcome Schneider Electric Chairman and CEO, Jean-Pascal Tricoire.
Buenos días. Buenos días a todos. Good morning to all of you. Thank you. Muchas gracias. I'm not going to do the flamenco. I'm sure you're going to be very disappointed. I'm not going to do the drums. It's far too difficult for me. But I would like to thank you. Thank you all for being here today. We know that your time is extremely precious. It's extremely important, and the fact that you come here and dedicate 2 days of your time to exchange with our teams shows how important our relationship is. I see a very full room. Actually, welcome to the people in this room. Welcome to the people in these theaters outside the room that we have filled with people who couldn't find a spot in this room. And I'm sure that this attendance is also due to the great characteristics of Barcelona. So you've seen that. This is the energy of Barcelona. Well, Barcelona is a city that never stops. Which other city in the world where you can work in the center of the city and have lunch and dinner on the beach and then never stop during the night because everything is keeping on going? Thank you, Barcelona. This is one of the great places that we are ready to go for the next 2 days. And more seriously, for us, it was making so much sense to do this meeting in Spain, because Spain has already been a great organization of Schneider. We employ in Spain 4,000 people. We have here 7 factories. We have R&D in the country. We deal with a lot of international business from Spain. Together with other partners, we manage the logistics of our international from here. We are very happy to do this global innovation summit here in Barcelona. And for that also, I would like to specially thank the people who come from very far away to participate to this meeting. I know we have people coming from all over the world who took planes. And I've got great news for the people coming from America, South and North America. You will soon discover that, in fact, you are not jet-lagged. Because there is no early dinner like 6 o'clock here. Maybe it's a lunchtime at 6 o'clock. So for everybody coming from North and South America, it's great news. For the people like me coming from Asia, it's very bad news. But anyway, who cares about sleeping? Because we've got plenty of things we want to discuss during the day, and we've got plenty of things to see at night in Barcelona. And that means not much sleep, but in the morning, if you feel sleepy, every morning you're going to get the Spanish drummers, los despertadores, to wake you up and make sure that you are perfectly in good shape for the whole day. So that's about it. Really happy to be with you. In the next 40 minutes or so, what I would like to do is to kind of introduce those 2 days and give you the landscape of what we are trying to accomplish together. And first, I'd like to discuss what we do together every day. And what we do together every day is to innovate and to design digital solutions of energy and automation for efficiency and sustainability. And those seem very big words, but the world is turning. The world is really changing, and sustainability is becoming mainstream and core to all of our companies. And let me share a little bit of my experience, because I was last week in New York. I came actually straight from New York to here. And because last week was an important week, it was the so-called Climate Week, where a lot of companies converged to New York and tried to think together on how we can serve the cause of combating climate change and make sure that we can still develop our companies and develop them even faster, but at the same time make sure we reduce our impact on the environment. And think about it, those things that you would have never seen 3 or 4 years ago, but last week you had 87 very large companies taking a strong commitment to what is called the 1.5 degree trajectory, which means taking the strong commitment to reduce your carbon footprint by more than 50%, or being carbon neutral within the next 10 years. And if you add that coalition that was born last week to the numerous other coalitions that were born in the last years, the EP100 for energy productivity, the RE100 for renewable, the EV100 for electric mobility, and more of those things, those are thousands of companies which are taking a new position, a new attitude to sustainability, and trying to make the most of their energy and resources. And it's more than this, because all of those companies are speaking to their suppliers, to their partners, because you can't dissociate your own efficiency from the efficiency of our suppliers. Take our example, Schneider. Last week, we took the firm commitment to be carbon neutral by 2025, and to be net zero emission by 2030. And to be net zero emission on our whole supply chain in the next coming 3 decades, which seems a long horizon. In industrial life, it's not so long. Which means we're going to talk to all of our suppliers and make sure that our emissions is reducing and our efficiency is increasing all over the value chain. And this is something that we do, but this is something that all the companies which have taken those pledges are willing to do in the next coming years. And make no mistake, that make our companies more competitive, because efficiency and reduction of carbon emission is just reducing the waste and losses in our company and making them globally more efficient. So why is there so much focus at the moment about this? Well, the first point, and let's start really with the bad news. The bad news is that we are seriously on the wrong trajectory. And this is today why we see our kids and many other people on the planet starting to go on strike, demonstrate, and you see more green vote taking ground into our countries. Why are we on the wrong trajectory? Because if you look at climate change, it's all about emissions. And if you look about carbon emissions, it's only an issue of energy and efficiency. So 80% of emissions are due to energy consumption. And if you look at what the development has produced, it has been a multiplication of energy consumption by 10 in the last century. And if we don't do anything, it's going to be 4 times more in this century. This in a world where 60% of the way we manage energy is inefficient. So today, even after the Paris Agreement, and even after all the pledges of our company so far, we are more on a trajectory of 3.5 degrees, which we start to see everywhere the effects. Droughts, water shortages, migrations in Europe. We see hurricanes, typhoons happening around the world. So the effects of climate disorder are really starting to look and appear around the world. When we look at all of this, it means we have an energy issue. We are on an unbearable trend, and the system that we have today is inefficient, even with the fact that we are now aware there is a problem. So this is the bad news. And the good news is that we are the first generation that became aware that we were creating our own major problem for this century. And it's probably our biggest challenge, or collective challenge of our generation, and the other generations will hold us accountable if we don't do anything. So that was for the part of the bad news. Now let's go to the good news. As much as our generation is the first one that came to know of what was happening, well, there are 2 major technology disruptions which are happening today, which makes the resolution of the issue possible. The first one is the transition of energy, and we're going to speak about that later. And the second one is the transition of digital, which allows us to think and to be much more efficient than we used to be. And those 2 are not evolutions, they are major disruptions which are impacting the world of today, the world we live in, on all of us in this room, being specialists of energy and automation, are really in the core of those two, or at the center of those two disruptions. And those two disruptions allow us to think about a world which is much more efficient, much more sustainable, with two pillars: energy efficiency and process efficiency. And we think at Schneider that those things are impossible to dissociate. Because if you want to tackle your efficiency in energy, you need to tackle your process, you need to slow down machine at times, you need to switch off part of a building at times, and it's all linked to the usage of machine and buildings. And at the same time, if you want to run your process efficiently, you need to have an energy which is impeccable to sustain that process. So if you look at it, it's one equation, two faces on the same coin, which is total efficiency for a sustainable future. So if we dig a little bit deeper into the two parts of this equation, energy transition is possible. And it's possible, it's not a 100-year thing, we have probably 20 years to change the trajectory. Because otherwise, warming is a thing with a big lag, and when you start to warm, ice is melting, and the more ice is melting, the world is getting warmer, and they accelerate the whole chain, and therefore, we have to tackle the issue not in the next 50 or not in the next 70 or 80 years, it's about the next 20 years. And the topic is to emit 50% of what we emit today in the world. We see today that there is a path. It's first using digital to save energy everywhere, 30 to 50% on everything we retrofit and renew in the world. And we just need to retrofit every year 2% of our building or 2% of our plants, so that in 20 years, we are going to have renewed 40 to 50% of the whole park. But what's important is that every time we touch a new place, we build a new place, or we revamp a new place, that we are targeting for 30 to 50% saving. And that should send the energy consumption not to another growth of 20 to 30% in the next 20 years, but it should send this trajectory to flatlining on the flat consumption, while we remind everybody that on Earth you still have 2 billion people who don't have a decent access to energy. So we have to provide energy to all of those people and at the same time curb the consumption. The second priority is to electrify. On every projection of all institutes show it, the consumption of electricity will again double in the next coming 20 years. While the rest of energy will be close to flattening, or the total energy consumption will be flattening, electricity will keep growing. And why is that? Because electricity is the only vector of consumption that allows decarbonization. And when we do that, what we see today is that buildings are becoming more electric. IT, which is growing the fastest, is all using electricity. And of course, we are barely starting the biggest energy migration of the history of energy, which is the one of mobility, electric vehicle. But let's all think about that. We often speak about electricity. Today, electricity is only 20% of the world energy consumption. In the next coming 20 years, it will go to 40%. And for many of our companies in the room, it means also formidable opportunity, because we are specialists of electricity, and we shall collectively invest as much in electricity in the next 20 years as we did since the beginning of electricity in year 1900, roughly. So huge investment in that space. It's not going to be exactly the same kind of electricity, but this is where the investment in energy will take place. And the third point is, of course, to decarbonize, and Spain has been one of the pioneers in this field, and make sure that this electricity is coming from carbon neutral places, from renewable and storage, and that should go from 6% to 40% of the generation in the next coming 20 years. So save, electrify, decarbonize is the equation that we have in front of us. But it's not the only place where we can innovate for a better world in terms of environmental impact. And I want to share here a major disruption, a major breakthrough that we are presenting here, I would say officially for the first time, in this Innovation Summit of Barcelona. If you remember, the whole of medium voltage, which is the head of power distribution, have been working for ages based on SF6. And SF6 allowed us to protect many installations, but SF6 is not a good gas for environment. So engineers around the world had been working with obstination to find a way to get rid of SF6, and some companies came with other gases and other gas-based solution. Schneider comes today with a solution where we are clear that the best gas is no gas. And therefore, we are coming with a solution fully based on air, and we are presenting for the first time a full lineup of product which is air-based and replacing SF6 solutions. I really encourage you to go and see our specialists in the room, in the Innovation Hub, so that you can get more acquainted with characteristics of this solution. Let's move on to the next part of innovation, which is digitization. Think about it. In the 90s, we all got our first contact with the internet. And I still remember it. And what internet did in the past 20 years was connect people to people. And it changed completely the way we work together and the way we live together. So at the beginning, we were just doing mails, or we were just reading our newspapers, and then there were many other functionalities that came on how to meet, how to communicate, how to order a taxi, a cab, and so on, and so on. It changed everything. 5 years ago came the beginning of the episode 2 of the internet. And this episode 2 is about connecting machines to people and machines to machines, the Internet of Things. And that started the second episode of the revolution of the internet. So what internet has done to us people in the past 20 years will start now in our sectors, energy and automation, as we speak. And this is probably the second largest opportunity we have in our business. Think about it also that 5G comes on board in the next coming years, and 35% of the application of 5G will be dedicated to building and manufacturing environment. So if you put together that acceleration cycle of more products connected through IoT, going into big data, the capacity to store more data in one space, one data center, thanks to what is called the cloud, on the deployment of AI, which actually is accelerated because for the first time in history, you have masses of data gathered in one data center, while digitization of objects will revolution everything we do in our business. So put energy transition and digital transition together, and you've got the space for rethinking what we do together. Buildings being all electric, all digital, many of them benefiting from a decentralized and local generation, and industry being also mostly electric, of course all digital, and for many of them benefiting from a local capacity of generation. And this is probably our challenge or our best opportunity as we go forward in the next coming 20 years, is to design a new electric and new digital world around us, which is significantly different from what we've seen so far. So at Schneider, when we looked at this issue of sustainability, demanding much more efficiency, and catalyzed or enabled by technology, by those two transitions, we see a world where efficiency can be catalyzed by 4 integrations. And I'd like to share with you those 4 integrations, and start immediately by the first one that I just described the most in my first part, which is the one of energy and automation. As I was saying just before, we see those two as the same part of the two faces of the same coin. And when you reflect about the evolution of those two sectors, you see IT, which is sharing computing power between the cloud and now more and more the edge to make sure that computing is close to the edge. But you see in the field of energy also that same evolution of sharing the energy between the grid, which is a cloud of energy, on the edge, on microgrids, and those evolutions are going together, and they can only happen because there is a digital system that keeps them together. So we see energy and automation really intertwined and more intertwined as we go forward, because this is the only way to reach the full efficiency. And if you take a few examples here, I've taken voluntarily some electro-intensive examples in my presentation, because this is a place where the stake of electricity consumption is the highest. So let's take a first refinery in Malaysia, Petronas. I was there 2 weeks ago, where Petronas, for its newest refinery, the rapid refinery in Malaysia, has put together the full power automation, the full process automation into one repository, so that operators and control room can see all the alarms on one screen. They can make correlation about what is happening on the energy side, on the process side, and automate everything. And the collateral of more efficiency have been also more uptime, being able to predict issues or predict breakdowns if they can happen, and improve a lot on the maintenance costs, because suddenly the operators know exactly where they have to go, with which tool, and with which spare part. Another example I'd like to show here, which is an example with Acciona in Mexico, in Atoll Tónico, which is a wastewater and water distribution system, where the issue was to the depollution of water, but also energy efficiency and reduction of carbon emission. And there again, putting on the one roof the energy system and the control system, where everybody knows that in fact water is just about energy, because if you've got enough energy, you can produce water, has enabled the customer and the user particularly to save on carbon emissions. So 2 examples in different systems of the first integration. The second integration, which has been allowed for the first time by the Internet of Things, is the integration from the endpoint of the shop floor to the control room on the cloud. And this has been really made possible by what I described before, that convergence of IoT, big data, and AI. Few examples here. Another oil and gas installation with BASF in Houston, where the main issue to be tackled was the management and the performance of assets. When you start to digitize your installation, you realize that your assets are not always managed to their capacity, and very often an asset breakdown will endanger your whole productivity on the production chain. So what they did is to combine, in this case, or to connect everything that on the shop floor to analytics, asset advisor, and that results in 100 variables per asset collected and analyzed, a 24/7 repository of everything which is happening on the shop floor, and of course avoiding every day 1 million of production costs that were happening before because of accidental failures or breakdowns. Another example to share to make it very practical is what we do in Valencia, what we don't do, but what we support in Valencia, what Mainzer, who is machine manufacturer for ceramic machines or ceramic production chains, where by using Machine Advisor coupled with EcoStruxure machine in an integrated manner, Mainzer managed to provide to its customers 30% of lesser energy consumption, and allowed also their customer to make 1 point more of profit by using the whole integration from the shop floor to the control room. And another example that I want to show you in a completely different environment, it is in Madrid. I know it's very dangerous in Spain to speak about Madrid when you are in Barcelona. But we are not speaking about soccer today. We are speaking about commercial and exhibition infrastructure. So IFEMA is one of the most famous exhibition centers in the world, and they have decided to really digitize the whole power distribution to be far better at their efficiency and the management of their facility. So you see here the benefit, 30% of energy consumption. There again, 24/7 control room, and of course, the payback is 3 years, paid mostly by the efficiency, which is a kind of typical payback when you use digital for more efficiency. And the best way, I think, to understand the benefits of that is to listen to our customers. So let's share together a video.
Lo que más me llamó la atención del sector ferial fue la cantidad de eventos congresuales, feriales, distinto tipo de actividades, lo cual te lleva a tener un reto continuo, adaptar unas instalaciones que están vivas. Nuestra visión es hacer de Madrid y también de España la referencia al escenario económico mundial desde el punto de vista del crecimiento empresarial, lo cual da lugar a multitud de oportunidades. Hola, me llamo Javier Martín y soy el director técnico de IFEMA. Como responsable de dirección técnica nos encargamos de la operación y mantenimiento de las instalaciones, entonces la respuesta al cliente y el conocer cuáles son los posibles fallos que se pueden producir en tiempo real para nosotros es absolutamente indispensable. Para dar solución a 2 congresos internacionales de una relevancia mundial necesitábamos 1.630 cuadros dotados de una tecnología que actualmente no existía en el mercado. Anteriormente no podíamos conocer los consumos en tiempo real ni recibir la información. Con esta solución de Schneider Electric lo que conseguimos es un salto cualitativo en cuanto a la calidad de los cuadros eléctricos con los cuales estamos dotando a los clientes finales y nos permite una gestión desde el punto de vista de operación y mantenimiento mucho más eficaz y con datos absolutamente reales. La solución EcoStruxure Power nos ha permitido reducir el tiempo de respuesta en cualquier incidente que se pueda producir, cual redunda claramente en una mejora en la calidad de servicio. PowerTag es el equipo que tecnológicamente nos permite conocer la información de esos consumos en tiempo real. Esperamos recuperar la inversión en 3 años. La eficiencia energética es importante porque es el futuro de la sociedad y por lo tanto el futuro de las empresas. Dentro de las empresas, de los clientes que quieren venir a IFEMA, la eficiencia energética se convierte en un valor añadido.
Beautiful example of how digitization was used here in Madrid. And you see, it's not only about efficiency, the capacity also to make your space more flexible and offer more services. For anybody who has a real estate which is used by multiple users, the capacity to bill especially the consumption of each user and to know much better how the facilities are used. So that's about the second integration. And of course here, you will hear a lot during the next 2 days about EcoStruxure. We have been at Schneider absolutely obsessed since 1997. If you remember, that was when we proposed for the first time an architecture called Transparent Factory by the usage of the internet applied to the management of technical infrastructure. And our obsession was to make digitization accessible to all. So creating an architecture that would be plug and play and that our customers would be able to use to digitize in a simple manner their installations. So we worked during 10 years, between 1997 to 2007, to learn better what it would mean. And in 2008, we came out with EcoStruxure version 1. And I know that everybody is speaking about digitization in the past 2 or 3 years, but this is late revelation. We've been working on it for the past 20 years. We've been officially on the market with commercial offers for the past 10 years. And EcoStruxure is pretty simple. If you want to keep it simple, it's 3 layers, connected products that can be easily digitized and brought to the digital environment. And there we have a very simple principle at Schneider, is that we want those products to be connectable not only to our systems, but to anybody's system. So they are developed on open standards. Second level is edge control, because local control has to be adapted to what you are doing precisely. And it's needed that human beings, people, are always in control of the local facility. So we want to have control on the spot, on the machine, in the building, or in the plant. And finally, by application, a setup of digital services and software, because data doesn't make much sense if you don't have analytics algorithm to give sense to data. And you can combine the 6 domains of EcoStruxure into solutions for buildings, data centers, industry, and infrastructure. Of course, we accompany that with cybersecurity services to make sure that our customers are putting together the right architecture for their application. So I'm going from there to the third integration. We started from the world of operation, connecting products into controls, into software, but when we were there, we realized that our customers were looking for more efficiency over the whole life cycle of their installation. Because if you look at what we do, from real estate to industry, when there is a construction happening, actually 30% of the cost is about reconstruction, about things which have not been designed properly for the operation, and we need, or people arriving on the work site and litigating because things have not been coordinated properly. So we decided over time to build a portfolio, a complete portfolio of software, and 1.5 years ago built the reference company in the field of industrial software, company called AVEVA, which is a company of, daughter company of Schneider, which puts together the most complete software and digital thread for industrial manufacturing. So if you take one example here, it's Wilmar, which is the biggest sugar company in Australia. They needed to retrofit one of their big company to produce sugar, and they used our software to do dynamic simulation, and they squeezed the time of design and commissioning by 20%. But using the digital twin of the installation into the operation, reduced the uptime to, or increase the uptime and reduce the outtime to 0, and make sure also that everything being digitized, the operators, the workers, the technicians on the shop floor would have one repository for everything happening to the process. What we were convinced, and what drove us also, is to realize that when you speak about digitization of the industrial shop floor, there are many companies out there speaking about digitization. But when you are dealing with machines, when you are dealing with production, the goal is not digitization. The goal is to control machines. The goal is to optimize process. The goal is to increase productivity. So as important is a digital thread from design into commissioning, into operation and maintenance. But what we do with AVEVA is to make sure that we are able to propose you the full integration into the physical world. Having teams on the field that can speak about your application and co-design what you are doing, having teams of service able to help you to commission, having teams then able to come and help you during the whole maintenance of the installation. So going on to the fourth integration. Most of the companies in the world are managed site by site, and it's already, on most of those sites are already connected in most of the cases. Now you reach the real efficiency and you leverage really low scale when you are able to connect the connected. That means connect your whole park of buildings. Connect all of your plants together so that suddenly you can get a better picture of what you consume all over your company, find the better suppliers, the most competitive suppliers for all your factories, making sure also that you can bench your sites and bring the worst one to the level of the best one, and only that brings a new level of competitiveness in the company. Let's take here the example of ADNOC, which is another electro-intensive user. This is one of the biggest oil and gas companies in the world. ADNOC asked us to digitize the whole chain from the well to the ships, and making sure that if they had no ship ready to take the oil in the port, they wouldn't be drilling more at the origin of place. With that, they've already connected 100,000 assets on which they can drill from a control room, and they are moving on to 1 million. Enabling the digitization of the whole chain on the whole company. Another example is Saint-Gobain in the US, which had multiple factories that they needed to connect. They connected the energy system and the production system and managed to reduce their utility cost or their efficiency or improve their efficiency by 14%. What they are doing also is through analytics and software is to modulate the energy consumption during the time of the day. Another company that I'm very attached to is Schneider Electric. So again, when we speak about digitization, there are many companies out there that speak about digitization, but we are also a big industrial company. We have 200 factories, 100 distribution centers. We have 7 factories only in Spain, 1 big distribution center in Spain. And for us, we need to optimize that very global setup in the world and make sure it's performing to the highest level. What we've, of course, done is to push our factories to highest level of Industry 4.0 and connected them together, and with results that we are measuring. Every year we enter in a worldwide competition in terms of supply chain organized by Gartner. And in the past 5 years, thanks to digitization, we move up worldwide by more than 20 positions. We are today number 11 in the world in terms of supply chain. And in Europe, we have reached now the level 3, and this is inclusive of all supply chain, including the large e-commerce companies. And we want to keep progressing thanks to the integration of the whole supply chain. So that's about the 4 integration. Energy and automation, endpoint to shop floor, life cycle, on all the scale of the company by integrating all your sites together into one repository. Now, as a conclusion, I would like to share 5 points with you. The first one is that when we speak about digital and when we speak about technology, it's actually never a question of technology. It's first a question of vertical, of business, of industry. And each industry is absolutely different. And as we engage with a number of customers around the world, I would say that each customer is different. So when we started our journey into digitization 15 years ago in Schneider, what we didn't see at the beginning is that we would have to recruit 20,000 people who are not technology R&D people, they are not IT people, but people who are just application people, people who do systems, people who do projects, people who know the business of customers. We don't want to do your business, we are just a technology company, but people who are ready and able to speak the language of the industry and applications we serve. The second point is that it's never, again, a question of technology. It's a question of benefits. So very often, the conversation starts with energy efficiency and productivity because we are all looking for more productivity and efficiency, but the collateral benefits are immediately reliability, safety of people, and I'll come back on that, on sustainability, of course. As soon as you are able to measure what you are doing, then you are able to respond of your sustainability. The third point is that there is a trend in the world of today to oppose digitization on people. We see it completely opposite, that digitization is here to empower people. Empower people in several places. First, augment their capability. We're going to speak, or you're going to see augmented reality in the next room. You're going to see systems which are telling people what to do in front of a system which has a problem. Personally, as the CEO of Schneider, the first thing I'm attached to, the most important thing is the safety of our customers and the safety of our people. And when digital is allowing us to guide people step by step into intervention, when it allows somebody to come in front of a problem and to know what is inside a dangerous electrical enclosure without opening, or to know what is happening in a dangerous machine without opening, I feel better. The second point is to support people. When you do simulation, when you do unified engineering, you are proposing options to people so that they can make more documented and better choice in a world, let's face it, which by nature is more complicated. And finally, digital is the ultimate place of collaboration, the place where, thanks to the cloud, because we share digital model, people can really collaborate better on. When we think about this new environment, there used to be places where utilities were coming on, contractors were coming in, panel builders, manufacturers were called to the rescue. Suddenly we can share common models that we can use together so that we can all participate to the better support of our customers. Fourth point I want to really emphasize is that Schneider is committed to accompany you. We saw Actiona before, but it's not the only company that we are working with all over the world. But we are committed because we are very multi-local to accompany you everywhere in the world. And the world from that point of view is today becoming more complicated. So when you open a newspaper today, they speak about trade war. I think we should speak less about trade war and we should speak more about tech war. On the fact that when we operate in certain environments, let's say China respect to the US, we are not operating at all in the same digital environments. So the people coming from electricity, we are used to that. I mean, there was UL in the US, IEC in Europe, CCC in China, Indian standards in India. We are able to follow you locally with local production, with local content, and we see the world as being more multi-local, and we are really attached to be the most local of global players wherever we go, in the physical world, in the electrical world, as well as the digital world. And finally, my last point is really about that this technical evolution, again, is opening new horizons for partnership and collaboration. Schneider, in our universe, has been the company working the most with partners, and we work in all directions with partners. It's about the partners with whom we work for integration of what we do, developers with whom we develop parts of software. It's about partners with whom we develop technology, and I'm going to be later on stage with Microsoft, with whom we develop early on our systems and with whom we keep, of course, developing even more systems. And it's about the systematic use of open standards. And we believe that the world of today is absolutely open and that no company is able to do everything, and that a great factor of success is to be able to collaborate every day. And when we say that, we are opening also officially in Barcelona what we call Exchange. And don't see Exchange as a technical platform. It's not at all this. It's a crossroad. It's a place where all the partners of Schneider are converging digitally. So industrialists, companies that are looking for a solution, integrators that put together solutions on the field, developers of software which have developed a part of software, and they can trade what they are doing and work together on solutions. So go there, discover Exchange, get on Exchange, and benefit from the whole ecosystem. Maybe, and that's a powerful tool for every small and medium company because, well, smaller companies have difficulties to have an outer reach to other customers, but Exchange is a great way, especially in the digital space, to sell to new customers around the world. So that's about the 5 main points I wanted to do as we are going through that trip of energy transition and digital transition. Again, what we are discussing together, what we are building together is to make sure that we empower everybody on Earth to make the most of their energy and resources, ensuring what we call at Schneider that life is on. Because as we work in 100 countries, we know that life, if you don't have the right access to energy, is absolutely miserable. And in the 21st century, access to digital is a human fundamental right that gives you access to education and the world business. So we are committed to bring that everywhere for everyone at every moment. But that finishes a very long speech, and as my colleagues would say, The best way to summarize your long speech is a good video, so I would like to call a video to summarize everything we said in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Thank you.
Is full of people telling you who to believe they are. Well, we thought we'd tell you who we're not. Let's start here. We're not in shipping. We don't make lifts. Seriously, no lifts. We do this. We're good at this. And we make all of these. And even though you'll find us here and here, we don't make energy. We make you save it. And you'll be saving the environment too. Are we an internet company? Well, we connect and power just about everything around you, helping machines talk to each other and to you, making your world more personal. We're seeking out big questions and answering them honestly. Like, how can we make the most of our energy and resources? Or can we make access to energy and digital basic human rights? We're real people, employees, developers, partners, investors, and inventors, all passionate about doing what's right. We're open, humans of all sorts from all over, learning from each other and about each other. We're not here to save the world. It'll go on with or without us. We're here to help power and connect what you do every day, to ensure life is on everywhere, for everyone at every moment.
Much better than a long speech, right? So now, much better than a long speech, there is another thing. There is a practical work. So I'd like to call Barbara, who is on the Innovation Hub. And Barbara, can you help us discover our world premiere offer, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Pascal. What a great keynote. So you just heard it from Jean-Pascal. Our innovations are designed with you in mind, our customers. We want to make your lives easier and more efficient, and we have only been able to do that by listening to you. Over the next 10 minutes, I will guide you through a selection of some of our most exciting innovations, all built here in our Innovation Hub. This area has been built for you to experience our amazing technologies. So across 5,000 square meters, we have more than 120 demos, walls with all over 100 new products, tools and technologies, all for you. Are you ready? Let's start with buildings. Did you know that around 82% of energy efficiency in buildings worldwide is only unrealized potential? Do you know how much energy you can save? Let's have a quick look with Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Barbara, and thanks. We are so excited to announce some new solutions for our customers and partners here today. I think we all know that buildings are becoming ever more connected because of the IoT and digitization. Therefore, we are proud to announce our new connected room solution. We have some of the products here that make up this solution, and what they do together is provide the tools and technology so that buildings and spaces can be ever more engaging and offer personalized comfort. These tools also connect to what you were talking about, Barbara, and that they help support operational and energy efficiency. Now, when we combine these tools with another announcement I want to make today, we have something really powerful. Here we are also announcing our EcoStruxure Building Operation 3.0. This is a powerful edge solution with visualization tools that are customizable. And what this means is it allows building owners to enable their facility managers to have really great visual tools at their fingertips anytime on any device. And speaking of devices, I have one more new announcement to make today. We are also announcing a new Building Engage mobile application. And a mobile application is just as it sounds. It's an integrated set of workplace services on a mobile application that people inside of buildings can interact with so they can be more engaged with their surroundings. So you can tell we're really excited about the new solutions that we're offering today. We have a lot of things to see here in the booth. We hope you come see us. And with that, I give it back to you, Barbara.
Thank you, Rebecca. A great introduction to our innovations in building. It is very much about intelligence and connectivity. Please do make time to visit this exciting hub. But the digital transformation is not only taking place in buildings. We can see this is a reality across all industry. The following digital innovations that you will see will focus on helping protect people, secure and safeguard assets, and maximize operational efficiency. We know that innovation is essential to you, our customers. So we hope to impress and inspire you this week in the domains of power and data centers as well. Now, without any further delay, let's hear more from Cecile and Rob. Hi, Cecile.
Hi, Barbara.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the world of power?
Power platform, which continues to leverage the digital technology to better protect the facilities and the occupants within it. So, as you know, the continuous thermal monitoring is reducing the risk of electrical fire by early detecting the abnormal temperature rises and faulty connections. And guess what? This is now available for medium voltage and low voltage systems. On top of that, we continue to advance arc flash protection system within the PowerLogic EtherGP5 relays. And on top of that, we have the nearby control via the EcoStruxure Power Device app that enhances further safety for the operator working with P5. And then I will not forget as well the earth leakage detection protection that is now embedded in our Compax NS6 ranges. So you can see that today the electrical distribution safety is really at the heart of our innovation today, all here for you. And I will not finish before talking about power management. This is, of course, at the heart of the connected world. And here you have the set of EcoStruxure Power software offers and EcoStruxure Power Advisors analytics-based suite of services here for you today. So we are really eager to see you. But now I hand over to Rob. Thank you to talk about Micro Data Center Hub.
Thank you, Cecile. And welcome everybody to the data center. Our focus for today is on edge computing. There's been an explosion of data from connected devices driven by Industry 4.0, connected devices on IoT, et cetera. And that's driving an explosion of compute, storage, and most important, an explosion of data. They say that 80% of all data is going to be done on the edge. So today, what are the challenges and how does Schneider Electric deal with those challenges? Well, there's challenges of resiliency, there's challenges of speed to deployment, and of course, managing and monitoring that site. So we're introducing the 6U wall-mountable EcoStruxure micro data center. Its slim design allows for power, cooling, IT, and most importantly, security. It also, in that design, is very ruggedized. So you can put your IT equipment and IT software into the micro data center and ship it very, very quickly. That ruggedized design also allows you to put it on a manufacturing floor along with retail and healthcare and all the other applications that you may have. And most importantly, EcoStruxure IT. So it does allow you that management and monitoring from a remote site, either you or one of your partners perhaps. So come visit us in the data center section. We have the 6U, we have the micro data center, and we also have our large modular data center, which is engineered, designed right here in the Barcelona area. So I look forward to seeing you. Back to you, Barbara.
Thank you, Rob and Cecile. Technology is moving at a great speed, and everybody in this hall will be affected by this evolution. Our final stop is Plant Asset Performance. By my side is Mary Beth.
Hi, Barbara.
In this area of the Innovation Hub, I see it about Industrial Internet of Things again. You will be introducing us to the EcoStruxure Plant Performance Advisor Suite. So if you were to translate them, our advisors are somehow like the brains of our innovation, our intelligence. And that's why we create special advisors for the different markets and give answers to our customer-specific needs. So tell us about it, Mary Beth.
You have it exactly right, Barbara. The business of manufacturing is undergoing a digital transformation like we've never seen before. Some of the world's most innovative technologies are found right here on the factory floor. Whether you call it Industry 4.0 or the Industrial Internet of Things, it's really about connecting and monitoring nearly everything, which is great, but it's also producing massive amounts of data that our customers have to wind their way through. So with our new EcoStruxure Plant Performance Advisor Suite, we're helping smart factories around the world, including our own, dig through all these bits and bytes of information to help improve their operations. So we have 4 advisors in this suite, but I'm just going to talk about one. Take, for example, the new EcoStruxure Pumping Performance Advisor. This directs water and wastewater plants exactly on what they need to do to reduce energy, maintenance, and operating cost. Just by tweaking their pumps, our customers are saving 15% in operating expense. We are really raising the bar on efficiency and sustainability, and it's not just for our customers, we have it for our own factories too. In fact, one Schneider Electric smart factory reduced its energy consumption by 10%, while improving plant efficiency by 25%. These smart manufacturing applications and digital services make it easy for plants of all sizes to go digital and take advantage of the industrial Internet of Things in a very simple, step-by-step manner. Barbara, as a matter of fact, it's not just about profitability, but it's also about being a responsible global citizen.
Wow, Mary Beth, we have arrived in the future now, huh? So Schneider Electric is leading the way in digitizing the industrial world. So there you have it. We have given you a glimpse of all the innovations, and we have big highlights to show you across the hub. And we hope you get a chance to see all of it over the next 2 days. Let me now hand over to Jean-Pascal for a fireside chat in the plenary. Jean-Pascal, over to you.
Thank you, Barbara. So it seems the communication, you can give a round of applause. And you have to go there afterwards, of course. So next part of this session is really important. I'm really pleased to welcome here Jean-Philippe Courtois, who is EVP and President for Global Sales, Marketing and Operations at Microsoft. Jean-Philippe, please come on stage. So, as you can imagine, Microsoft is a huge company, and when you are in charge of sales and operations, you are very busy, so I'm really thankful that you could make that. I understand you are landing from the US, actually.
Yeah, I'm landing from the US. I think you landed from China as well, so we're converging Barcelona together.
So I have an information for you. It's roughly 12:30 here, just to reposition you in time. So Jean-Philippe, can you tell us a little bit more about your role and why it's important for you to be here today?
Well, first of all, Jean-Pascal, thank you so much to you, the Schneider team, and all of your customer partners to have me for this exchange. So my role is really to leading, in many ways, transformation of many customers across the planet. I'm leading all of our sales marketing operations globally for Microsoft, 120 subsidiaries, where we take care of the commercial business of Microsoft. And in essence, I think what we are trying to do, is reflecting on our mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, which means for many companies in the world, I think, to become actually software businesses as well. So what I do is working with partners, clients across many industries in the world to become increasingly digital so that they can actually transform the business, transform the value of their customers, and achieve more.
And so, well, I've been in contact for a long time with Microsoft. We've been actually, what you probably don't know, but Schneider and Microsoft have been working on digitization for a long time together, and it's been a great journey. So, as you said, many companies are facing today the question, should they digitize or not, and how should they do that? So what's your view? What's the view of Microsoft on that?
I would start saying, Jean-Pascal, indeed, there's more than 30 years of partnership between Schneider and Microsoft.
Absolutely, yeah.
3 decades.
Which is probably the whole history of Microsoft.
Almost. Almost. And I think in many ways, what we are doing together is very much in alignment of our two missions. I was listening to you on a mission. Is my mic working?
Is the mic working?
Oh, I think, is it working?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was. When I was listening to you talking about empowering all and thinking about us talking about empowering every person in the organization, in your case, obviously using digital to automate, drive energy savings and more, there's a lot we have in common. And I think there's a lot that we bring together. I was talking recently to our team on one great example we have of that digitization. We'll talk about digitization together, which is this basically company, water-saving company in New Zealand, where basically Windforce is the name of this company, and with the startup farm solution, based on EcoStruxure, we're unable to truly help managing a lot of water, energy consumption savings together by aligning again the stack or IoT stack and the solutions of Schneider together. So coming back to this big question about digitization, you know, we see the world running on software everywhere we go. I'm sure you have the same experience.
I heard Satya say recently, Satya say recently that the world is a computer, right?
The world is kind of a computer.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by the world is a computer? We mean that wherever you go, in your cars, in your homes, in the stadiums, in the coffee machine, in the surgery device, they are running on software. And every company and every industry and every country is becoming digital. Think about the unlimited, I would say, computing power keeps growing globally, and you serve many of your customers with huge data centers, capacity growing. Think about the number of connected devices going from 25 billion 2 years ago to 50 billion connected devices in the world next year. Think about this sheer computing power. The opportunity is just endless. The world is becoming truly a software, and as a result, we believe and our customers believe that every company is becoming increasingly a software company, a cloud-first company. So all the learning we have ourselves as a company reflect in the way we enable a mining company, we enable an infrastructure company, we enable a retail company to become a digital business.
So what we've seen, the movement that we've seen many years ago of IT being concentrated into IT rooms and then going on our PCs and being distributed, is now happening to things, right? So we see that computing going everywhere, and you have now that network of computers connecting together, working together around the Internet of Things. And that makes that in all of our business, we develop parts of the software. And I would dare to say what is important is to be very complementary. When we started the journey at Schneider, the first indication we defined is if something has been developed, let's say by Microsoft, we won't do it. We will focus on the places where we are unique, differentiated, and where we can bring value on the top of existing technology. So it's a lot about working together. We'll come back on that one.
Yeah.
We were, this morning, before the whole session started, we are talking together, we are having a coffee.
Yes.
With our computers, so we spoke a lot about computers. And you shared with me an example of coffee. Your neighbor in Seattle, right?
Yeah, this is small coffee company called Starbucks that some of you may enjoy somewhere in the world. It's a great example of a company going digital 360. With Starbucks, we've been basically enabling them to accomplish three things. Number one, they are on their way to connect with intelligent cloud on the edge all their coffee machines in all the stores. They're starting in China. Initially, what they used to do, they used to have an army of services people coming in the stores, in coffee stores, with their USB stick to download, upgrade, maintain the coffee machines. Today, they are using our Azure Edge technology, so microcontroller chips in the coffee machines, to analyze remotely what's going on, what kind of consumption of which type of coffee is being consumed in that store in Hong Kong or in Mexico City or in Paris. They're going to be able as well to maintain and do predictive maintenance remotely, all using, again, cloud edge technologies. The second scenario we are serving them, which I think is quite exciting, is on AI. They basically build an AI agent called Deep Brew. That's an interesting name. And Deep Brew enables you entering one of your favorite coffee stores to get immediately the right personalized, I would say, coffee or food that you like in that store served to you, fully personalized. And the third service we bring together, which I think will talk to your mission as well, which is all about sustainability and respect of the supply chain, is leveraging blockchain to have a full transparency of the entire supply chain, from the consumers drinking his coffee, all the way back to the coffee plantation, maybe in Colombia, to make sure he knows that all the people, all the processes working through, 100% in compliance with what you expect from a company like Starbucks from a brand. So here's a great example of the way you drive a different customer journey, you drive your operation digitally, and the way you extend that all the way to the consumer values and what it stands for your brand.
It's interesting you speak about that. When we speak to Starbucks, we are putting edge data centers in their retail shops because they need to have that continuity and be able to interact very quickly with a customer. And when you speak about the traceability in food and beverage, well, over the past 2 weeks in same kind of sessions with food and bev companies, and traceability is really becoming big. Coffee is one thing because we all like or would like to know where the coffee is coming, but think about infant food.
Yeah.
Recently I was in China, making sure that there is traceability. For instance, take the example of a factory based in New Zealand, making sure that the Chinese customers knows where it comes from, batch by batch, is something which is really becoming important. It was impossible before because digital was not there, but connecting the connected, connecting all the elements of the supply chain is making it really much more affordable and really a big element of differentiation for those companies. So these are places where we really work together, right, in different aspects of the equation, but working side by side to ensure the whole digitization of the chain. What I was saying before, and I know it's I've heard you speaking a lot about that, is it's not about technology, right? It's about what? It's about transformation, it's about people, it's about culture.
Yeah, you're right, Jean-Pascal. I think very often people forget when we use those two words, digital transformation, they forget the second word, transformation. and the more we go deep and broad with customers in their own software transformation journey as a company, the more we hear they have to think holistically about 5 tenets, 5 pillars of the change. One is the mission. We talk about the mission. I think it is deeply important. It's far more than just a marketing statement. It's going to be real. It's going to be the meaning, the purpose for the people, for the customers. And we see many companies rethinking what they aspire to be, what they want to stand for as they become fully digital. The second one is obviously digital and tech intensity. We'll talk a lot about that. We're going to discuss more of that. The third one is the way you digitize your operations management. Because the reality, when you become agile, when you become cloud first, services first as a company, you've got to completely rewire all of your operating mechanism as a company. The first one is skills, 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 and skills. The people you need to skill, upskill, reskill, not just IT, digital, data scientists, but across the business, across manufacturing, across supply chain, HR, finance, and more. And the fifth is culture. Because as you know well, culture eats strategy at the breakfast every morning. And as a company, we've gone and we're going, and I know Schneider is doing the same through a deep cultural transformation, which is the way we are changing our ways to work to embrace the mission we want to be. And I think we've got a great example, by the way, of cooperation we do together between our two companies, Jean-Pascal, in bringing some of the solution to the market. I will refer to our very recently announced Surface Up to S, which I think you can see some of them actually in your demo
I hope so.
center. I hope so too. This is a wonderful 4K 50 inches basically whiteboard screen, full teamwork, real time, leveraging of course Microsoft Teams, Office 365 and more across the world. And what's beautiful in this mobile actually whiteboard that you can also rotate and move with wheels to another place, because before it was always plugged. With the APC mobile charger, you've got autonomy to do that real-world collaboration anywhere, anytime. So even better as we partner together. And I think the second example we'd give is the way you integrate the workplace advisor in our Office 365 environment to, as an example, and we're using it in ourselves, Microsoft, when you're on a site, you can actually see in a very smart way the workplaces or workspaces that are being used or not used, and really integrate that back into Outlook, into your collaboration tools you use every day. So
that's an interesting time where digital complements digital. So workplace advisor is once you have instrumented your building for efficiency, and the efficiency is paying for the investment of making it efficient, then you've got sensors everywhere, and therefore we are able with the right algorithm to tell you where your building is used or not used, And that means that connecting directly to work streams of Teams or actually from Outlook, you can connect the two so that now your physical structure is integrated with your the digital management of human interactions, right? So this is where people are meeting physical infrastructure directly between two digital worlds which are made compatible. That's one brilliant example where on that integration, frankly, comes as native, right? Yes. It's just because it's all compatible that you can use both of them together.
No, it's a great example, I think, of what we call that tech intensity as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I've heard you, but I think it's an interesting, the whole transformation of companies, we are all facing that issue, right? So I've been, again, for the past 20 years, every year visiting or meeting Microsoft, and it's incredible how the company has transformed. It's a young company to the standards of Schneider. We are 183 years.
I know, we are still very young compared to you.
So I was reading recently that the average S&P company has a lifespan of 13 years nowadays, so Schneider has been 15 times too long on the market. But we have transformed many times our vocation, our mission, everything you were describing. Yeah. But what in high tech, it's moving very fast. And I've seen you guys going from the legendary Windows into the internet and then into the cloud, on managing all of those transformations with a lot of success, which is not small feat when we see the brutality of the tech industry. So well done, and it's been always a source of inspiration. So you were speaking about this concept of tech intensity.
Yes.
So can you come back on that one, because it's something I heard a lot at Redmond and every time I speak with you guys. So can you clarify the concept?
Yes. So tech intensity is a very simple equation, Pascal, with two variables. The first one is actually tech adoption.
Yep.
Each company in the world, small, large, mid-size, public or private, can adopt anytime off-the-shelf cloud technology. It's available, it's easy, provision of services on Azure, Microsoft 365, whatever you want, is there. It's yours, and you can be more agile, more flexible, etc. But if you just do that, I think that's not enough. What you need to do is really add to that basically what we call a tech capability, a unique IP, intellectual property, differentiation, you're going to co-build, that we are co-building with our customers on top. In many ways, what we've done together on EcoStruxure, if you think about the IoT stack of EcoStruxure, orchestrating all the OT operations of your customers with sensors, with the devices, the management system, and more, it's about building Schneider unique tech capability on top of the Azure platform. And in doing so, you are creating a unique value to all of your customers, partners, and to actually do a lot more with your customer. So this is what we call tech intensity, and with every company in every industry in the world, we work together to build that unique additional capability. You know, I was having as an example recently a very interesting discussion with a large automotive company back in France and Japan. They operate globally. And we've been doing a massive transformation project with Renault, which enables their millions of cars to be connected.
You said the name.
Renault, yes, Renault. Listen, to be connected on Azure globally.
Right.
And they are building on top of that, indeed, their own services to be uniquely positioned as a mobility as a services platform company, and not anymore as a traditional automotive company. That's in essence what tech intensity is all about. It's really applying a unique innovation on top of that cloud AI platform to really outcompete the others and out-innovate the markets.
Yeah, I want to compare notes here, and I would completely subscribe to that.
How do you do your own tech intensity?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we called it that way, but this is exactly the way we saw it. I think what's really the most difficult here is to understand what you want to do and what you want to use from other companies. Because if you don't embrace digital, your company will have a difficult fate in the future. So we are all bound to digitize what we do. Now, if you exhaust your company in the wrong point, that means in developing things which are already existing off the shelf, then you have no hope and no future either. So I think it's not simpler or much more complex than anything we are doing in the physical world. It has to be defined with a lot of precision where you bring differentiation on value, and just have one understanding. It's that you've got many more resources in digital than you had in the physical world. So the horizon of things you can do is much larger, because digital, as I was saying before, is the ultimate place for collaboration. You can plug very fast some modules of software and cloud and things together so that you bring your own value. Second point, which I learned from on the side of Schneider, is that it's not a small journey. As you said, you have to build your own capability, and it's not only coding and software. It's about, in our case, we are just doing products, and suddenly when we started to speak digital, it was about 24/7 living with your customer. And then you need to speak the language of the application. So we needed people who were speaking data center, people who were speaking wastewater, people who were speaking hospital. 20,000 people that we had to recruit in many languages, in many countries. So a completely new part of the company, which today 40% of our business is about that, talking application. So technology is a catalyzer, but then the way it transforms the company is pretty big. But choosing your angle to the market on the place where you need to digitize, on the places, on the contrary, where you need to use a platform is extremely important. On our base here was to say avoid as possible to redo what the other guys are doing on competing on the wrong things. So I think at the end of the day, it's a lot of strategic thinking and a lot of learning as you go also. But yeah, adoption on building your own capability. So Jean-Philippe, switching gear a little bit, as you speak about digital, we spoke about IoT, we spoke about a number of things. There is a big fashionable word at the moment, which is both fascinating and scary, which is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So Microsoft is working on that. Deeply. So where do you see the future of artificial intelligence, and how should we use it, and how should we approach the issue?
Yeah, this beyond the buzzword and the buzz of those two letters, this is first of all a huge economic transformation force. I mean, there's a couple of numbers that many studies have been done, one by PwC saying that AI-driven innovation is going to actually add $16 trillion to GDP, global GDP by 2030. That's a lot of zeros. And growing GDP by 14%. What it means that every industry, every company is already on its way to infuse AI across the entire business, entire organizations. To us, AI, Jean-Pascal, is really about three things. Number one is empowering developers to innovate a lot more with data at the core of their development processes. Number two, it's about really enabling organizations to really monetize their data assets in their industries. And number three is really all about empowering everyone to use data insights to do more in their jobs and lives. So that's a big mission. And I was sharing with you a couple of examples, like automotive industry. I talk about this coffee machine as well with AI, really giving you a unique personalization. Yesterday, let me give you something as well we just announced, which is a great example of this democratization of AI. Yesterday, we announced a very exciting partnership with Novartis, one of the largest pharma companies in the world. And that pharma company, under the leadership of its CEO, has been embarking on AI for many years. And of course, as a pharma company, you want to use data and AI to find the next molecules, to find and discover the next drugs. But you also want to harness the potential to actually re-engineer and improve a lot more your manufacturing processes, and then do the same with clinical trials. So what we did with them, we announced that we are partnering by providing to all of their people, not just data scientists, what we call a research canvas, basically a tool set on AI that will enable not only their PhDs, not only their data scientists, but also their medical affairs people, and so on and so forth, to use kind of a natural language to query any data they have, and they've got tons of zettabytes of data, unstructured and structured, to query any kind of existing machine learning models they have and new ones to come, so that they can actually really use the power of AI in their jobs to basically go deeper, faster in new discoveries and harnessing that capability to all the people. So that's the vision we have for AI, and we're starting to make some inroads with such partnerships to enable a lot of more people to use AI in their day-to-day jobs.
Yeah. Well, it's very exciting because it's good to have data, right? It's good to gather data, but the problem that we all have in this room is to manage complexity. And when I look at our systems, AI is not only at the upper layer in the software, but we make machine learning on the data, and then we push it down to connectable products or to edge control, so that everything which has to be fast on rotating is on the edge or even at the level of the product, and then of course doing most of the learning on at the cloud level. But you need to have those layers and then distribute AI everywhere on the spaces, on things. And it's a lot there again of cooperation, of embedding, on working on that. But if we are not able collectively to help people on the field to use AI to operate better their work, it's just a technology and it's not very useful and it stays scary and not really fascinating. So that's where we work. The other place is probably where we should speak, because we speak about digital, is cyber security.
Yes.
So I guess the fact to be big and to have those large data centers is a true asset for you at Microsoft, right?
No, it's a huge asset and huge learning, as you can imagine. Obviously, Microsoft is one of the favorite targets of, I would say, interesting cyber attacks going across the world. As a result, we've decided to really enable all of our customers with the end-to-end view of security issues happening in the world. So in other words, we are providing to our clients, as you know, because we are doing such works together, what we call a security graph, which is basically the view we have real-time of all the issues, warning, attacks, threats going on in the world, and capturing that and customizing that for every customer using different type of identity services, using as well a lot of different technology in terms of information protection, using a tool set in the world to truly anticipate, learn, detect, protect, and react. And so as a company, we have huge amount of investment we are making on security, embedded into our products, as you know, as the core value of our Microsoft 365 platform, Azure, they all are actually embedding that. But more and more you'll see us, we just announced some of that recently, infusing a lot of those AI, again, intelligence services to really drive that security or compliance at scale. A good example we announced 3 days ago at Sibos, the Finance Summit, that we are enabling through our Dynamics platform a fraud detection service, which in essence, in the context of the workflow of people working in financial services, is going to connect all those signals happening on someone that is not necessarily great, trying to use such commerce service, trying to pay with such credit card, and make an immediate, basically, decision based on that on your core business processes. So long story short, we infuse that security design in everything we do. And you're right, this is clearly at the core of this platform foundation.
See, it's at the core of every discussion when we speak about EcoStruxure on just the specific characteristic of Schneider makes that we specialize on everything which is mixing OT and IT together in the fundamental of EcoStruxure, because that part is the object of very specific attacks of hackers. A few things is that when we think about that in this room, there is kind of common thinking that connected makes more vulnerable. It's partly true, because in reality what we see is that the most serious attacks happen with physical intervention. A USB key that was improperly used by somebody on the installation and spreading virus. So when you are connected, at least you are monitoring. The second point, that what drove the standardization of EcoStruxure was the sheer recognition that we wouldn't be able to establish cyber defenses if we wouldn't be standardized. So having one set of a platform where we develop everything makes that we can coalesce and converge our efforts, because it's a lot of resource and a lot of money and more people employed to that. And the fastest business or whatever engagement we have with our customers today is developing cyber engagements with them to, as you said, map things on the OT space particularly, and make sure we establish the right level of defense. Jean-Philippe, well, we spoke about transformation. We said it's not about technology. So when, maybe as a conclusion, as all of us are going through that transformation, and that you see many of them happening around the world, what would be your key guiding principles?
I think Jean-Pascal, I've been certainly learning and keep learning a lot about a few principles to keep me honest and keep our customers and our teams honest as we transform. Number one is be open-minded. We call that at Microsoft have a growth mindset. Growth mindset is really about having the appetite to take risk, to learn new things every day. So that's my second kind of principle, be something like learn every day. You can learn every day from customer, your teams, partners, government, something happening, but make sure you really ingrain and really wire the learning into your next action the day after. The third one is be customer obsessed. I think as a company, we used to be a lot product centric, very deep engineering culture, as you know. And I think we've made some progress, hopefully, still more to do, to start with the customer issues, customer opportunities, and start with that in mind to build the foundation, the services that we want to do and achieve. And the last one, when you talk about transforming, you ask your teams and people to transform. Guess what? You've got to be the change. Because if you're not a role model, you're leading with a change, you can have nice slides, you can make big speeches, it doesn't matter. So you need to be the change and behave with the new habits every single day so that people can relate to that and say, oh, he actually means it. He actually is serious about it. So that's probably something we do. So those are a few nuggets, I don't know if it's wisdom, but at least of experience for the last few years, as we go through the massive transformation, Jean-Pascal, you and I, with many of our customers.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think we shall all leave the room by understanding we have to be the change, so that puts a lot of pressure on all of us. Well, Jean-Philippe, again, thank you very much for coming all the way to Barcelona from wherever you go to next. Thank you for sharing your experience on the behalf of Schneider. Thank you for 30 years of close collaboration, and let's keep working together to the progress of the world.
Thanks so much, Jean-Pascal, for me, for our partnership. Thank you so much.